12 years ago, Haleigh Cummings disappeared in the middle of the night from her Putnam County bed. She was just 5 years old at the time. She's been missing ever since. For those of you who followed this massive search for the kindergarten in February 2009, it is probably hard to believe that Haleigh would be 18 years old today. It's her birthday. Even after all these years, her family has never given up hope that she will come home someday.
Yeah, 18, graduating, prom, all the things we should have got to see, but didn't.
For Haleigh Cummings' grandmother, the pain of her disappearance gets worse with each year she's gone.
I know she's grown up, but I don't know. You know, how tall is she? What color is her hair? It's hard to think that you don't even know what your grandchild looks like. But I always see her happy because she was always happy.
You got a backpack full of goodies, didn't you?
Haleigh Cummings lived in Satsuma with her father, Ronald, and her younger brother, Junior. At the time she was last seen, her dad's girlfriend, Misty Crosland, was babysitting the children while their father worked the midnight shift. She said Haleigh disappeared from bed. Her great-grandmother has never forgotten that night. The call from Ronald.
Somebody stole my child.
His voice screaming at me, somebody stole my daughter. Somebody stole my daughter. My daughter's gone. I need you here. And I started walking up and down the road looking and calling her, hoping that she would answer me. Because surely, nobody didn't take her. I couldn't believe it. That somebody took her. I mean, she had to be there somewhere. But she wasn't. She was gone.
She was in her pajamas. We were sleeping.
Okay. All right. You said your back door was wide open?
Yeah, it was brick. Like, it's a brick on the floor. Like, when I went to sleep, the door was not like that.
Misty Crosland said when she went to bed that night in this bedroom, Haleigh was sleeping right next to her. Hours of searching turned into days, then weeks, months passed, and now years. There's been no sign of Haleigh. After all these years, the wall dedicated to Haleigh inside her great-grandmother's home has grown. And these two women have been steadfast in their belief Haleigh is still alive.
And there are too many children in the past year since she's been gone that have been found, and they've been gone longer than she has. But there they were. They were alive. Why can't I keep believing that she's alive? Those children were. And they came back to their families. We just have to wait for our turn. For her to come back to us. For somebody to have the guts or the heart, whatever it takes, to tell us where she is or how to find her.
That pain, you just feel it sitting across from them. Every time I've interviewed them, it's always been the same. Now, there was never any evidence that Haleigh died, and her body has never been found, as I mentioned, and it's why her grandmothers think that she was kidnapped and just hasn't been able to get away. They hope that now that she is 18, an adult, that she will be able to make her way home. If you have any information about Haleigh Cummings' whereabouts or what happened to her 12 years ago in Putnam County, please call Northeast Florida Crime Stoppers by dialing 1-888-277-8477.
I know you've kept in touch with investigators through the years. They have their own theories?
They certainly do, and we have talked about it for a number of years here. I want to be very clear. I mean, they do believe that Haleigh Cummings is dead. As much as her family doesn't want to believe that, they believe that something happened to her and that she died that night, February 10th of 2009. They also believe that the last person to see her alive, Misty Crosland, has not told them everything about what happened. But, you know, She was never charged. She has always denied any wrongdoing. She is currently serving time in prison, a long sentence on an unrelated drug trafficking charge.
And she doesn't get out of jail for what, another 10 years?
Yeah, 2031 is her release date. Now, Haleigh's dad, also in prison for drug-related charges, gets out next year. He loves Haleigh, he says, and he plans to look for her as soon as he gets out. Much more on this story, by the way. Look for the background by searching news4jax.com/Haleigh. Years ago, Haleigh Cummings disappeared in the middle of the night from her Putnam County bed. She was just 5 years old at the time. She's been missing ever since. For those of you who followed this massive search for the kindergarten in February 2009, it is probably hard to believe that Haleigh would be 18 years old today. It's her birthday. Even after all these years, her family has never given up hope that she will come home someday.
Yeah, 18, graduating, prom, all the things we should have got to see, but didn't.
For Haleigh Cummings' grandmother, the pain of her disappearance gets worse with each year she's gone.
I know she's grown up, but I don't know. You know, how tall is she? What color is her hair? It's hard to think that you don't even know what your grandchild looks like. But I always see her happy because she was always happy.
You got a backpack full of goodies, didn't you?
Haleigh Cummings lived in Satsuma with her father, Ronald, and her younger brother, Junior. At the time she was last seen, her dad's girlfriend, Misty Crosland, was babysitting the children while their father worked the midnight shift. She said Haleigh disappeared from bed. Her great-grandmother has never forgotten that night, the call from Ronald.
Somebody stole my child.
His voice screaming at me, somebody stole my daughter. Somebody stole my daughter. My daughter's gone. I need you here. And I started walking up and down the road looking and calling her, hoping that she would answer me. Because surely, nobody didn't take her. I couldn't believe it. That somebody took her. I mean, she had to be there somewhere. But she wasn't. She was gone.
She was in her pajamas. We were sleeping.
Okay. All right. You said your back door was wide open?
Yeah, it was brick. Like, it's a brick on the floor. Like, when I went to sleep, the door was not like that.
Misty Crosland said when she went to bed that night in this bedroom, Haleigh was sleeping right next to her. Hours of searching turned into days, then weeks, months passed, and now years. There's been no sign of Haleigh. After all these years, the wall dedicated to Haleigh inside her great-grandmother's home has grown. And these two women have been steadfast in their belief Haleigh is still alive.
And there are too many children in the past year since she's been gone that have been found, and they've been gone longer than she has. But there they were. They were alive. Why can't I keep believing that she's alive? Those children were. And they came back to their families. We just have to wait for our turn. For her to come back to us. For somebody to have the guts or the heart, whatever it takes, to tell us where she is or how to find her.
That pain, you just feel it sitting across from them. Every time I've interviewed them, it's always been the same. Now, there was never any evidence that Haleigh died, and her body has never been found, as I mentioned, and it's why her grandmothers think that she was kidnapped and just hasn't been able to get away. They hope that now that she is 18 and adult, that she will be able to make her way home. If you have any information about Haleigh Cummings' whereabouts or what happened to her 12 years ago in Putnam County, please call Northeast Florida Crime Stoppers by dialing 1-888-277-8477.
I know you've kept in touch with investigators through the years. They have their own theories?
They certainly do, and we have talked about it for a number of years here. I want to be very clear. I mean, they do believe that Haleigh Cummings is dead. as much as her family doesn't want to believe that. They believe that something happened to her and that she died that night, February 10th of 2009. They also believe that the last person to see her alive, Misty Crosland, has not told them everything about what happened. But, you know, she was never charged. She has always denied any wrongdoing. She is currently serving time in prison, a long sentence on an unrelated drug trafficking charge.
And she doesn't get out of jail for what, another 10 years?
Yeah, 2031 is her release date. Now, Haleigh's dad, also in prison for drug-related charges, gets out next year. He loves Haleigh, he says, and he plans to look for her as soon as he gets.
Haleigh's been missing. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I want to thank you for being here this morning. As you're aware, we're now approaching the 80th hour that Haleigh's been missing. And again, we're still extremely concerned about her safety and whereabouts. As you can see, we still have, we're still continuing our search efforts. We have the helicopter up again today. And we have new ground personnel that have come in from EquiSearch, and I'm sure you're familiar with them. We're actually going to broaden our search today. We're going to expand it outside of the area that we've been in. And I actually had the opportunity yesterday to go up in the helicopter to look at some of the search areas that the EquiSearch people are going to be looking at, and it's extremely thick and very dense. It's going to be a very tough search today.
Sheriff, can you tell us, has there been any change in what Misty said in terms of whether she was sleeping in the bed with Haleigh or in a different bed? Has she changed her story at all?
I'm going to stick with the law enforcement interviews that we've conducted with Misty, and I'm not going to comment on some of them.
Are there still more interviews to do?
What areas?
Sir,
are there still more interviews you guys are still waiting to do?
We're doing interviews today. Again, we're going to be interviewing more family members today and other people also.
Have you talked about sex offenders?
Ma'am?
Have all the sex offenders been interviewed?
Yes, ma'am. All the sex offenders have been interviewed, and the residents have been searched.
Are they cleared?
They're cleared.
Everybody.
They're cleared as far as us contacting them and speaking to them.
Keeping Jessica Lunsford's case as a baseline here, has every single property within a square mile been looked inside and searched?
I can't say that every single property has been looked inside to, and I don't want to compare the details between Jessica Lunsford and what we have here today.
What other volunteers do you think you'll have today?
Ma'am?
How many volunteers will be out searching, do you think, today?
It would be safe to say that we have well over 100 people out here today.
Do you want more?
Sheriff, asking you specifically, how did you decide on the areas? Was there something that led you to these specific areas, and how many areas are you considering?
What's led us to these areas is the fact that we haven't searched them, and they're connected, you know, to the areas that we're to this property. So we're expanding the search. We've gone over this particular area 3, 4, 5 different times. So now I think it's just prudent to go ahead and extend the area.
Sheriff, at one point you said that you considered everybody a suspect. Have you cleared anyone from your list?
Yeah, my director, you made a good point. At this time, the world is a suspect, and we really haven't excluded anybody.
Sheriff, yesterday you said that there was evidence collected and you sent it in. Do you have anything back yet? For example, fingerprints? Because at one point, Misty had said that when she went to bed, the light was off. When she got up, the light was on. What do you think about that?
No, sir. What the fact is, we have collected evidence. It is at the lab, and I'm not going to discuss the pictures of what we've collected.
Sure. What other family members are you going to interview?
What other family members?
Yeah.
At this time, I'm not going to disclose who we're interviewing today. And
are you going to be re-interviewing any family members you've interviewed previously?
It'd be safe to say we're going to re-interview, yes.
With polygraph?
I'm not going to discuss polygraph.
On the family re-interviews, is it just the Cummings family? Is it also the Sheffield side of the family as well?
I'm sorry,
Is
sir.
it both the maternal and paternal families that are being interviewed and re-interviewed, or just the Cummings family?
I'm not going to get into specifics of what family members are being interviewed today.
Sheriff, do you think the cinder block
where they're going to be searching today?
Very thick, very dense.
Is it water to land?
It's a combination of both.
Sure.
It's a very marshy area.
And will EquiSearch be searching the same way through the weekend? Do we already know that if nothing is found, they'll continue that long?
I believe they're going to stay with us for a while.
Sheriff, Misty's 17, Ronald's 25. Isn't that illegal for them to be in a relationship?
Ma'am, that's not the focus of our investigation at that point. You know, the bottom line is, again, we have a 5-year-old girl missing and we don't know where she is, so that's what we're concentrating on.
Sheriff, people still questioning Misty's story. Any new information there, and your thoughts again on that at this point?
Again, I'm going to stick with the investigative interviews that we've had, and any inconsistencies in what you're hearing with her talking to the media, I'm not going to discuss that today.
Can you give an estimate on the number of law enforcement that are out here?
An estimate today or throughout the whole operation? I'd be safe to say that we have at least 50 law enforcement officers on the ground.
50 and then about 100 volunteers.
Over 100 volunteers.
Do you need any more volunteers? You said it's really densely wooded.
Sir, we want to control the volunteers that are coming out here to assist us, and so we're gonna let the EquiSearch people go ahead and take the lead on the volunteer aspect.
Day four now, 80th hour. What is the working theory?
Say the last part.
What is your working theory on what happened to Haleigh?
I'm not going to throw in theories. I'm going to strictly deal with facts here, if you don't mind.
How's your staff handling the pressure?
My staff is great, and they've worked late into the night. They get up early. Everybody's here for the long haul, and my staff is absolutely wonderful. And again, you know, we've got local, state, federal agencies. The gentleman standing next to me is a special agent in charge with Florida Department of Law Enforcement. His name is Dominic Payton.
And Sheriff,
you've dealt with this recently several times. Can you talk about that? Your take on this, what you're doing?
Go behind the mic. Yes, number one, I'd like to go back to that question. Sheriff Hardy and the Putnam County Sheriff's Department is doing an outstanding job with a very, very tragic event. Every one of his staff members is going the extra yard, the sheriff included. We hope to get a recovery, and we are working towards that. As referenced to FDLE, our laboratory is working, our investigators are working. We're bringing whatever we can do to help the sheriff as a force multiplier. And again, this is a great team effort. And again, I applaud the sheriff and his department to be able to go out here day in and day out at numerous hours. Some of these people out here have been out here numerous hours, with small hours of sleep, and they're coming back, which is an outstanding effort on his part.
Can you describe some of the items that are being tested and how long you think that would take?
No, I will not get into the items of evidence. There's a series of different types. I mean, whether it's fingerprints, DNA, lab analysis, we are going to use the full force of the Jacksonville Crime Laboratory to bring whatever results or leads we can. And I don't have a timeline.
Sheriff, some of the family, you probably noticed camping out there close to the home. They've complained that they have not been briefed, have not been brought up to date by you guys. Do you plan at any point to connect with them on any new details or anything you know?
Sure, we do. We are in contact with the family. Some of the family members they chose to set up a camp over there. They have places they can stay, and family members that are in the immediate area. And if any of them need any help, they certainly can contact me, and we'll get them what they need.
Sure. They seem to be operating on relatively few photographs of this child.
Don, repeat it. I can't hear you, Don.
We seem to be operating off relatively few photographs and video of this family, Sheriff. Has the family turned over to you any video or additional photographs that you can make available?
At this time, I can't answer the question if they've turned anything over additional.
Sheriff, earlier you said that you couldn't confirm if Haleigh's even still in the immediate area. What sort of strategies, in addition to expanding the search grid today, are there if, you know, somebody had taken her out of state even?
Listen, we have actively investigated and pursued over 350 leads that have come in to date. So we are not just going to limit this search to Putnam County. We'll go wherever it takes us. So, and again, I ask you to bear with us because we have followed up on, again, over 350 leads.
Are you still operating under the assumption that this is an abduction?
Absolutely.
Sheriff, you told the last person that saw Haleigh outside the immediate household.
Well, our investigation tells us that it's the girlfriend, Misty.
Are there outside people that live in the house?
Yes.
Before Ronald and Misty, who was the last person to see Haleigh besides them?
Ma'am, I can't disclose that as part of the investigation.
And Sheriff, Monday.
Ma'am, I don't have the answer.
Sheriff, can you say if the tests for evidence that you sent to FDLE will be put to the front of the queue? Are they being rushed?
I can answer that question. Absolutely. This is a great case of tragic event for this community, and FDLE will do whatever it takes to make those results as soon as we can to the sheriff to help him solve it.
So those have become the state lab's priority then?
I can tell you the Jacksonville Crime Laboratory, they are our priority, and we will do whatever it takes to get the answers that we can for the sheriff to solve this case.
I can also tell you that the Commissioner, Gerald Bailey, the #1 man with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, has been in contact with me personally and has offered all of their resources. So the answer is obviously they're being very cooperative.
Like at your most distant point that you'll be, how far is it from the house?
We've worked our way out from the house and out, and we're just extending that even further.
Do you have a date of when, if you keep searching and come up empty-handed, is there going to be a date where you need to tell us when you're going to say, okay, we haven't found anything, let's scale back? Or is it round the clock until when?
It's round the clock until we staff this and come up with the answer to your question. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take 2 more questions.
Sheriff, what is the most overwhelming aspect of this case for you?
The most overwhelming aspect is the fact, again, that we have a 5-year-old child that is not with the father. And it's frustrating, to be quite honest with you.
Sheriff, what we talk about this every day. What would you need from the community now? Obviously,
again, the community, their outpouring of support has been extremely generous, and I just ask the community and the state through the statewide Amber Alert and please just be diligent and keep up their efforts to help us find this young lady.
Will you guys still be looking in the river today?
We'll still be looking in the river today, yes, ma'am.
350 leads. Would you call any of them good leads?
Ma'am, I'm not going to discuss the leads, and I'm not going to take any more questions, and I want to thank you very much.
Will you be back out today, Sheriff?
Next time we can have a day with you guys.
When is our next briefing?
For the ones ensuring the job always gets done, and the ones wearing many hats, Grainger offers professional grade.
Hey guys, how are you? Hi Dippy. Hey Justice Jane, if you're still in here. So I wanted to bring attention to this case for a few reasons. You guys seen my video yesterday. Look, here's the thing. Does Haleigh's case connect to Summer? Probably not. Okay? But the similarities in the 2 cases, in my opinion, are outstanding. That's what I think I want to point out over the next, I don't know how long. I just think this is a direction I'm going. I would also like to cover Autumn. I believe all missing children need to have their face out there. Like Summer's case, there was a lot of drug activity. Like Summer's case, Haleigh was 5 years old. Like Summer's case, Haleigh was blonde. Like Summer's case, she disappeared out of her house without a trace. Did I say she was 5? So, Dippy, you don't see, like, if Summer's case was to go into drug trafficking, let's say that's the thing here. We know Ronald and Misty were arrested for drug trafficking, right? We know there's no trace of Haleigh. There's no explanation. Haleigh still has not been found. Right? So I feel like it's a distant connection. I don't think that they're related to each other, but there are ties to Tennessee in Haleigh's case. Now, my mind needs to be refreshed. It's been a long time since I covered Haleigh's case, and I want to try to do this responsibly, pointing out facts. I have a lot of good ideas. I think I'm going to map it out. is what I'm going to do. And I would love for you guys that remember things in her case to help me to do so. I'll tell you another similarity, Dippy, and this is going to blow your minds, okay? Because it's something I found and I can't find again, but I'm going to dig. Okay, you know how we do like the Ben Verifieds and stuff? Well, sometimes if you Google search, names will come up of areas, okay? Like if you Google search a name, I come across something that connects to a name that I've been talking about in the same area in Satsuma, Florida. Now, it wasn't a direct connection to that name, but it was a family member that lived in a trailer, and the trailer is no longer there. It's just a lot, and it's in Satsuma. So, I'm going to dig, and I'm going to find it again and see if I could prove it, and then see where it goes from there. It was only one time. It was a quick search. I never really looked into it. I always had it in the back of my mind when I discovered, yes, Dippy, the cousin, Joe, I think was his name, lived in Tennessee. I don't believe it was Hawkins County or even near Hawkins County, though. So I'm going to, I'm going to look, but I think it was more closer to Nashville, to be honest with you, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong. Dippy, I don't know. There's a lot of kids that have disappeared kind of the same way. I've been following this one, Ayla Reynolds. I never heard of Ayla. I might have, but I don't think I paid attention. Who's been missing since 2012. Well, let's dig into it. There's a lot of kids that are missing. Like, I get it. We got to keep Summer's name out there, right? Like, that's important. We should push that and do that every day. But in my opinion, the best way to do that is to push her missing photos from the TBI and TBI newsroom information and things of that nature. Her case has already been messy. And that was another similarity between the two cases, was this case was extremely messy, just like Summer's case. Much in the same ways, but different, because we had Misty, right? Like, Misty was there, claims there was this baby sleeping in the bed, and then after that you get rumors that Misty had gone to a party and taken Haleigh to a party, and the cousin was there and they knew what happened. Like, it was really, really convoluted. There was a lot of rumors and speculation. I would even say, because at the same time, this case started, I think, maybe like a year after the Casey Anthony case. Okay, so at that same time, I think this case was more convoluted than the Casey Anthony case, because we know Casey had like her baby and all this other stuff. But down in the trailer park of Satsuma, Florida, is this little girl that just disappears from her bed. They state the door was left open with a cinder brick, right? No trace. Misty claims she was sleeping in the bed with the baby. There was a little brother that had said he seen a man in black that came and took Haleigh. Yet they're still trying to accuse Misty. So is it a possibility that the case got convoluted like Summer's case and somebody actually did come in and abduct Haleigh? Like, that's another thing that people need to look at. There's a lot of stories that surrounded Haleigh's case. Dippy, I don't know, because when they do, like, you could say that, but when they do them child interrogations, they're very thoughtful and careful and meticulous. Look, I had a friend, I'm not going to give no names, okay? I had a friend whose children were assaulted by somebody, okay? And it was a small assault by somebody who was underage. And she had to take her kids. I went with her because she was scared. And she had to take her kids downtown. Actually, it was like East Liberty. And they had to sit down with her, and we got to sit behind a window like they usually will let somebody sit behind a window and watch. Like, and if it's not the parents because they're suspects, they'll have the police or somebody, they do comfortable things and they make the kids comfortable and they get the information out of the kids, which is why we have to look at Dawn and Candace as being innocent, because I just don't see it if the kids aren't sitting. Like, they're very trained to sit with the children. And maybe that's something we can look into one day, Okay, hold on. Let me see. Okay, so say he overheard adults keep saying that, so he went with it. He was 3, Dippy. He was 3, and that's never a story that Misty Cummings gave. I don't remember. I think that came directly from the little boy and the police, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. Like I said, you guys have to refresh my memory, but there was a lot to that. Yeah, kids are parrots, but kids also don't know how to lie. That's why, like last night when I was covering the Brit videos, I said out of the mouth of babes. You hear little Johnny tell a story about feeding the dogs or the kids going in the woods and that the boys could go in the woods with them. And he was serious. He was like, no, we go in the woods with the boys, and summer would come and the oldest boy was in charge of babysitting. Right. Heck, we are refreshing together. So I'm just saying, like, out of the mouth of babes. Children usually don't lie. And them investigators are usually pretty good at what they do. For instance, it was discovered in my friend's case, we thought the incident had only happened one time. And it was more than once. And them investigators were able to pull that out of the baby. So, yeah, 2009, it's been a minute. What year did Rose Bly go missing? What year was Autumn? I gotta go look. That seems to me like a number that calls out to me. Like, a lot of these cases happened in or around that time. I actually think Autumn was before Haleigh, though. I think she was 2004 or 5. So it's a lot. Like, and I'm not saying that Haleigh's case by any means connects to Summer. I'm just saying there's a lot of, similarities. There really is. So what do you guys want to see? Into remember the case, Dippy, Pandies. Hi, Pandies. Sorry if I didn't say hi. Who else? Justice Jane. Is there a certain clip you guys would like to go over? Do you remember a clip? I can play it. Look at Ayla's. Yeah, I definitely will, Dippy. I definitely will. There's a lot of children that have just disappeared without a trace. And I do want to reiterate that yesterday I did speak to, what do they call them? The uppers. In Autumn's case. I'm going to tell you the FDBI, whatever they called in Florida, the TBI down there, FD, whatever. We'll hear it again. But when I spoke to them, they did give me some strange information. I was shocked. They were very friendly. I spoke to an officer in Ormond Beach. I called Satsuma, I'm not going to lie. I made them aware of Summer's case because I don't know that they were. They probably were. I'm sure that goes out on every radar when an Amber Alert's issued, right? But I told them how there was a connection to Beach Creek. I'm not going to lie. That's not because I believe that there is a connection. That's because there is a connection, like, to the area anyway, with missing people, right? Because as I'm going to talk about it now a little bit, because since I haven't been able to talk about my videos, I find it odd. This man moves to Tennessee. They disappear off the map of the earth. Okay. No trouble, no legal issues, no nothing for like 30 years after like crime after crime after crime after crime. I'm talking drugs, like their crimes, the Britt brothers' crimes were pretty big. And again, I'm not accusing David of taking Summer, but I have a right to speculate on my own material, right? I try to keep it biased, unbiased. And that's what I'm trying to do here. But when I spoke to the investigators down in Florida, I was given information that I'm not going to put out. Okay. Somebody asked me in my comment section last night if they thought Autumn was unalive. The one thing I will say to you guys is no, they don't believe Autumn to be unalived. Okay? At least at that point, 2 years ago. So I'll just put that out there. Other than that, I don't want to talk about the details of what I was told or anything because I don't know that it connects to anything. Okay? As for Haleigh, like I said, I see some similarities. Okay? And I think it's worth following her case again. I think it's worth opening a can of worms, not connecting it to Summer, just following Haleigh and seeing where it goes once we get to Tennessee. Because I never went that deep. I followed Haleigh's case when Haleigh's was, big. This was a big case. It wasn't as big because Casey Anthony, they were still looking for Kaylee and all that F shit was going on. So the spotlight, I believe, was a little bit taken off of Haleigh. But then again, it became a clown case. Like she was going on Good Morning America. And man, this case is... Woo. Okay, so did anybody... Autumn is David Britt's niece, Dippy. Watch my live from last night. At least skip the beginning of it. It was... yeah. Yeah, so many missing. Thank you, Pandies. Let's pray for all these babies, right? And if we're going to be here for the greater good, don't you think we should do it? Let me run my ticker thing here. Hold on. For a little bit. Don't you think we owe it to these kids to get all of their faces out there, right? I think it's important we do this because there are other cases all over America where children have just disappeared out of nowhere, thin air. Summer's not the only one. So, I don't, Haleigh's case, since Ronald got out of jail, didn't he go back to jail? See, that's another thing too. Like the dude got out of jail and I think he already went back. Like here, let's look that clip up. Let's find out. Hold on. Which one am I? I'm not sharing any. Hold on. Present. Yeah, we'll go to this one. Which one? Let's try to find the longest. Wonder if HLM would. They probably would. They'd probably be the first to sue. Hold on, guys. Yeah, see right here. He's already...
To be free and flexible and creative was really essential to what I wanted to make, and I didn't find a platform that did that other than Wix. Hi, I'm Liv. I run Double Press, a print and design studio in Brighton, UK. I chose Wix for...
Just into the newsroom, Ronald Cummings, the father of Haleigh Cummings, who you'll remember disappeared in 2009, is accused of trying to grab a gun from a Putnam County deputy. Prosecutors say this happened during his arrest on drug charges over the weekend. Less than 30 minutes ago, Ronald Cummings appeared in a Putnam County courtroom on a list of new charges, including resisting an officer with violence and trafficking in oxycodone. Court documents also say that during the arrest, he asked deputies, "Do you think I'm afraid of prison?" Cummings' bond is now set at more than $150,000. He pleaded guilty to drug trafficking back in 2010 and served more than a decade in prison and was just released from prison in mid-October. Cummings was never a suspect in his 5-year-old daughter's disappearance because he was working the night she disappeared. The little girl has never been found. Today, she would be in her late teens. According to the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, the last person to see Haleigh was her babysitter, Misty Croslin, who was also dating Ronald Cummings at the time. News4Jax reached out to Ronald Cummings' lawyer for comment about his recent arrest. We've not heard back. We've also contacted his mother, but she has declined to make a statement. And I want to remind you, there is a 4-episode podcast on Haleigh.
We watched part 1 of that podcast at the beginning of this. If you guys don't mind, hey, listen, and let me tell you guys something. Last night after my live, I had a health issue, small crisis, and I ended up in the emergency room overnight. It wasn't like a major thing. I take medication that causes my potassium sometimes to drop, and my potassium dropped last night and I got a little ill, so I had to go in and get a bag of potassium. So here I am. I'm having these weird Charlie horse cramps, so I'm not with it all the way tonight, just letting you know, but it's nothing serious, so don't go like, oh my god, she's dying. That's not the truth. But I just want to let you know I'm a little under the weather tonight. Okay, so I'm going to go back and we're going to re-listen to that because yeah, I didn't really get a good listen to it. I was messing around with the ticker. I don't want it in the way when we're watching, but I want to make sure I have the copyright out there. So hold on one second.
Newsroom, Ronald Cummings, the father of Haleigh Cummings, who you'll remember disappeared in 2009, is accused of trying to grab a gun from a Putnam County deputy. Prosecutors say this happened during his arrest on drug charges over the weekend. Less than 30 minutes ago, Ronald Cummings appeared in a Putnam County courtroom on a list of new charges, including resisting an officer with violence and trafficking in oxycodone. Court documents also say that during the arrest, he asked deputies, "Do you think I'm afraid of prison?" Cummings' bond is now set at more than $150,000. He pleaded guilty to drug trafficking back in 2010 and served more than a decade in prison and was just released from prison in mid-October. Cummings was never a suspect in his 5-year-old daughter's disappearance because he was working the night she disappeared. The little girl has never been found. Today, she would be in her late teens. According to the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, the last person to see Haleigh was her babysitter, Misty Croslin, who was also dating Ronald Cummings at the time. News4Jax reached out to Ronald Cummings' lawyer for comment about his recent arrest. We've not heard back. We've also contacted his mother, but she has declined to make a statement. And I want to remind you, there is a 4-episode.
That's crazy to me. This man who just got out of prison. Wow, I really didn't follow all that because I was over here fighting for my life on Summer. He just got out of prison. His baby girl's still missing. Instead of looking for his daughter, this man is 100% sober after serving all them years in prison. Instead of looking for his daughter, he was started drug trafficking again? What? I remember it was Florida, Crystal. This case happened in Florida in the Daytona Ormond Beach area, just a little bit outside of it. Let me look it up on a Google map and we could show it. 1 second. Give me 1 minute here. Now, how do I add a third one? Hold on. What the hell is going on here? I want directions. There it is. Okay. Now let's add destination. I'm just putting Daytona in there so you guys can get a understanding of where this is in Florida. Okay? Because Daytona is a well-known area, right? So let me screen share. Hey, I never noticed that. It says share this tab instead. You could just switch. Okay. So this is Daytona Beach. Everybody's heard of Daytona Beach. Here's Ormond Beach. This is where Autumn went missing. Okay. And this is Satsuma. This is where Haleigh went missing. So, Dippy, I kind of grew up in Miami Beach and Surfside, actually, 2 blocks away from where that condominium thing fell down. My dad actually worked at the Holiday Inn that used to sit next to it. And they knocked that down and they built this big like condominium thing, and I guess it caused that building to collapse or whatever. But I literally lived 2 blocks away from there. Yeah, sort of, kind of. And then I lived on 87th Street, and Florida's beautiful. I love Florida. I have a sister that lives in, I think she's in Fort Lauderdale now, but she grew up in Hollywood. Okay, hold on. Hollywood. There you go. You might know my sister. Her whole family's from there. Okay. So anyways, this is Satsuma. Okay. And here's Daytona. And here's Ormond Beach. This is where Autumn went missing from. She left her home to walk to a movie theater to meet a friend, and she never arrived. As you've seen, Haleigh was sleeping in the middle of the night. They claim there's been several stories. I don't know what the latest story put out by police is. We have to that's what I want to do is go through this. Yeah, Anna Nicole passed away. Yeah, there's a lot of, I ran into a lot of famous people when I was younger. I did. I met Don Johnson and Kroc. Can you believe it? I went to Bell Harbor Elementary School, and we used to ride our bikes to school. They have like little bike stands. You're allowed to do that shit down there. And we were leaving school, and I was getting my bike off the bike stand, and they were filming across the street. It was like the most exciting time in my life. I was so excited to meet Don Johnson and Kroc. Okay, so I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, it's a very close proximity for me. Could it be connected? Probably not. But 2 missing children in the same area, and how many others? These are things YouTube never really got into because we didn't have YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, Dippy, you know what? Actually, my sister was down there when Hurricane Andrew hit. That was scary. We couldn't find her for a couple days. My dad ended up in the hospital having a heart attack. She was down there visiting, and it hit Hollywood bad. They were on the beach. They weren't in Hollywood, but it was horrible. You was in Andrew? Man, that was so scary. So scary. Like, my sister was on the news up here and everything. Like, when we finally found her, it was like 2 weeks later. And she came back to Pittsburgh. The news came to our house and put her on the news. But she was only 10, I think, 9 or 10. But yeah, okay. So what do you guys want to do now? You want to go look? Susan, I didn't see her. Their cousin from Hawkins. Yeah, I don't. Are you sure which cousin? Is it the same one? Is it Joe? The one they interviewed? Because you said that earlier to me too, but I thought I'll have to pay. I didn't pay my Ben Verified. I don't want to dox nobody no more, so. But maybe I'll pay it to find out what part of Tennessee he's from, because I thought he was from closer to Nashville. They might have ties to Hawkins. Yeah, Overstreet. That's his name. Let's see. Can we look that up? My Ben Verified ain't on right now, so hold on. Oh, here's the Charlie Project. Here we go. Hold on. Let's look at this. Not right now, but I will. Haleigh has been. I don't see nothing. Oh, here we go. Haleigh was last known to be sleeping in her family's trailer in the 200 block of Green Lane in the area of Hermit's Cove in Satsuma, Florida. Late in the evening on February 9th, 2009, she went to bed at 8 p.m. Her father's live-in girlfriend of 5 months, Misty Jeanette Crosland, sometimes identified in the media by her later name, Misty Cummings, went to sleep in the same room at 10 p.m. Okay, so the Charlie Project's going to have current information. Haleigh's 3-year-old brother was also sleeping in that room. Haleigh's father, Ronald Lemhouse, I don't know what the hell that name is, Lemyles, Cummings, finished working second shift and arrived home after 3 a.m. on February 10th. Misty told him she'd just discovered Haleigh was missing from her bed. The rear door to the trailer was several inches ajar, and the screen door had been propped open with a cinder block. Ronald and Misty called 911 at 3:37 a.m. to report Haleigh's disappearance. The police found no sign of forced entry to the trailer, but they are uncertain whether the back door was locked. I thought there was a brick. I thought that was certain. Oh. Ronald and Misty have insisted that it was, and Ronald remains the trailer was broken into. Haleigh's younger brother told investigators that a man dressed, like I said, a lot like Summer's case, right? Like they don't know if the back door's locked. Haleigh's younger brother told investigators that a man dressed in black had come to their home that night and taken his sister. Authorities aren't sure how much credence to give to his story given his age. An extensive search of the area turned up no sign of Haleigh. Her father stated she wouldn't have left the home by herself at night, as she's afraid of the dark. Initial reports were that Haleigh was last seen wearing a pink shirt and underwear, but police later said they found the shirt. They wouldn't say where, but Misty says she found it in the laundry pile after she was allowed back in the house. Investigators now say they don't know what Haleigh was wearing the night of her disappearance. Photos of Ronald and Misty are posted with the case summary. They got married in March, a month after Haleigh's disappearance. Ronald stated that he thought Haleigh would have wanted it. They needed to get permission from Misty's parents as she was only 17 years old. In October 2009, 6 months into the marriage, Ronald filed for divorce. He cited inconciliable differences as the reason. mainly the stress caused by Haleigh's disappearance and the subsequent police investigation and media attention. The divorce became final within days. I didn't know they got divorced that soon after. Why didn't I know that? Since Ronald and Misty had only been married a short time and they didn't share any property or have any children together, there was little to discuss. Haleigh visited her biological mother, Crystal Sheffield, every other weekend. A photo of Sheffield is posted with the case summary. She and Ronald, who never married, separated 4 years before Haleigh disappeared and fought over custody of their 2 children in court. Ronald wanted custody because Sheffield had admitted to using cocaine and because Haleigh had missed several doctor's appointments while in her care. Sheffield alleged Ronald was violent. She once sought a protective order against him, but the case was dismissed. Listen, there was a lot of speculation surrounding Haleigh's mother. Let me come back to chat. I just got to remember where I was. So let me do this. There was a lot of speculation surrounding Crystal Sheffield. Crystal became public. She explained her story. Being she is on my Facebook, she is 100% sober today. She has a beautiful, beautiful family. So I am not by any means going to go forward with this and attack Crystal Sheffield in any way. There are facts that come out in the case as we read about it. But I just want you guys to know that that woman is amazing today. Okay? And she shares stuff about Haleigh all the time. All the time. Okay. Oh, wrong screen. All right. Hey, guys, give me 1 second. I'm just going to mute, take a drink of water a minute, and just give me 1 minute here. Okay. I didn't see chat. I'll come back in a minute. Oh. Am I sharing the wrong screen? Oh my God. Horrible, guys. Sorry. Share this tab instead. And now I lost my damn place. Ooh. Here, I'll scroll up since I got to look for my place. We'll go through. Oh, it don't let you click them. You guys can't see the videos. This is Joe Overstreet down here, I think. No, he might be that one. We'll go through it. There was a lot of people involved. Okay, hold on. Okay, Ronald wanted custody because... Oh, hold on. I had to cough, and because I have to cough where I had the cramp last night, it hurts really bad. So I'm sorry. I didn't want to make an ass out of myself. Okay. Ooh. Ronald wanted custody because Sheffield had admitted to using cocaine and because Haleigh had missed several doctor's appointments while in her care. Sheffield alleged Ronald was violent. She once sought a protective order against him, but the case was dismissed. Ronald was given full custody of both children in December 2005. He had minor brushes with the law, mainly drug arrests, prior to Haleigh's disappearance, but in most cases, the charges were dropped or he got deferred adjudication. Both Sheffield and Ronald retained attorneys after Haleigh's disappearance, though her attorney, Sheffield, accused Ronald of child abuse and neglect. Both sides of attorneys have since withdrawn their representation. Police also questioned Sheffield's fiance, as well as other family members friends of the family and neighbors. Police repeatedly questioned Misty about Haleigh's disappearance and looked into the possibility that she wasn't in fact at home when the child disappeared. Oh, so the police repeatedly questioned Misty about Haleigh's disappearance and looked into the possibility that she wasn't in fact at home. So they didn't believe she was home when the child disappeared. Misty described herself as a devoted caregiver to Haleigh and her brother and said she had been home the entire night and hadn't left the children alone. Investigators have been publicly skeptical of Misty's story, stating that she failed 4 polygraphs and 1 voice stress test and changed her story multiple times. They described her accounts as consistently inconsistent. Misty and her older brother, Hank Thomas. Okay, so that was her brother was the one next to her in the picture I showed. You guys gotta, my memory gotta come back to me. Hank Thomas, Tommy Crosland Jr., later accused Joseph Joe Overstreet, who was the one at the bottom, of kidnapping Haleigh. Overstreet, who is from Tennessee, was in Florida when the child disappeared. He visited the Cummings home on February 9th and left only a few hours before Haleigh vanished the next day. He returned to Tennessee. Photos of Overstreet and Tommy are posted with this case summary. Misty stated Overstreet had SA'd her when she was a child and had been involved in criminal activity his whole life. Although he is not registered as a SO, Tommy was the first to accuse Overstreet of kidnapping, stating Overstreet planned to steal a machine gun from the Cummings residence, and when he couldn't find it, he threatened Missy with a knife and took Haleigh. Overstreet and Tommy drove to St. John's River, 5 miles from Haleigh's home, and Overstreet threw the child in the water. Misty later affirmed his statement, saying she had lied earlier because she was afraid of her cousin. So you see, now we have 2 stories already. Now the cousin took her, but the little boy is stating that a man in black came and took her. So there was never no confirmation on which story was true. And going to the river, the St. John's River, Misty actually took the police. Let me come over here a minute. Misty actually took the police to the St. John's River, and that river has been searched and searched and searched and searched. Haleigh was never found in it. I mean, if you think they searched for summer, they searched for a long time for Haleigh, months. And it was public. It was all done out in the open. So they told us of their arrests. The laws in Florida are very loose when it comes to public information. Yes, Janelle, and I've been after that case. Yeah, I want to look into it. You guys are talking about it. No, that's the second person. Dippy, do you have any videos on your channel about it? Autumn's last name is McClure. Autumn McClure. She had her mother's name. It seems to me Daddy Britt wasn't real involved in her life. But he has a lot of children with a lot of women. Like 4 women, I think. From what I've seen. And Autumn is a twin. She has a brother. And I've reached out to him and he wrote me back, but I don't think I wrote him back after that. Because shit on here went ape shit. You know what I mean? There's a lot of content I've wanted to bring to you guys, and I don't want to just cover summer, and I've been said that. I'm not sure of videos, but have talked. Guys, hold on 1 minute. Let me see who keeps messaging me while I'm live. Give me 1 second. Hattie, I can't look at chat when I'm live. It just takes away my screen sharing and stuff. So I'll see your messages when I'm done. I'm sorry, hon. Okay, 1 second. Okay, Pastor Reynolds would go around the projects with bus bringing kids to their church in the 80s. I don't know who that is. Oh my God, I know my phone's gonna go crazy. Hold on, let me shut this shit the fuck off for a minute. I have my phone off all the time. This is why. You turn it on and all them notifications, as soon as somebody messages you or something, you get every notification from email, apps, everything. Boop, boop, boop. And it'll go on and on and on. Okay. I may have a few lives with her name in it. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you have any, like, post them in the comment section of this live or any live, really, or anywhere, and I'll go watch them. Point me to it. I'd love to follow that case. And where is she from? What state is she in again? All right, let me go back to this Haleigh thing. Okay. Tommy was the first to accuse Overstreet of kidnapping, stating Overstreet planned to steal a machine gun from the Cummings residence, and when he couldn't find it, he threatened Misty with a knife and took Haleigh. Overstreet and Tommy drove to the St. Johns River 5 miles from Haley's home, and Overstreet threw the child in the water. Misty later affirmed his statement, saying she had lied earlier because she was afraid of her cousin. Overstreet denies any involvement in Haleigh's disappearance and hasn't been charged in connection with it or even named as a suspect. Although he has been interviewed, authorities searched the river in April 2010 and brought Misty to the dock, but the search yielded nothing of interest. Misty, Tommy, and Ronald were arrested on related drug trafficking charges in January 2010, along with Ronald's cousin, with a friend, Ronald, and the other defendants all pleading guilty except for Misty, who pleaded no contest. All the defendants except Misty were sentenced to 15 years in prison. Misty got 25 years. Ronald was released from prison in 2022. Misty isn't scheduled for release until at least 2031. Haleigh's favorite fruit, so they didn't put in here, it ain't up to date because they didn't put in here that Ronald went back to jail. Haleigh's favorite food is macaroni and cheese, and her favorite thing to play with are makeup and her laptop computer. At the time of her disappearance, she was a kindergarten student at Browning Pierce Elementary School in San Mateo, Florida. Her case remains unsolved and is classified as a homicide. So, Maine. I've been to Maine. It's beautiful there. Okay. Oh, shit, busted. Sorry. I don't know what you're messaging me. I'm sorry. I told you about my phone. That's why I shut my tab off. So, yeah, what did we just read? Because it made me want to go look at something. Oh, let's go see if we could find what am I sharing? This one. I know I was supposed to share something else. I can't remember now. But this is more interesting anyway. Oh, where Overstreet lived. We'll look at that in a little bit. Let's see. This should be on YouTube, right? No, I'll look for it the next time. Let me grab a pen and write that down, because I'll look for that next time, and we can go over his interview. See, we're going in a direction. Give me 1 sec. Oh. I'll pull out a new notebook. All right, so I'm going to look and see if I can find an interview or a transcript. That pen don't work. All right, so the next time I come live, I'll have the interview with police, if I can find it. I'm almost positive that was done. Yeah, because Florida puts all their stuff out. It just might not be on YouTube. Joe Overstreet's interview, and then I'll find out what area he lived in. I will not be sharing public addresses or any kind of addresses unless it's in a news setting, a news station setting. Let me come here. Well, thank you for... Get some good sleep, Dippy. And yeah, send me those, I'll look at it, Hattie. Yeah, Dippy, get some good sleep and send me them links to that missing girl, Ayla. I would love to hear about it. But let's go see if we can find some more. Oh, God. You see this? White boy went to Ben Hill today. I didn't watch it yet. Did anybody watch it? Yeah, let's go talk about that. 2017. Let me write that down, too. I'll put it on the back page. Give me 1 second, guys. It hurts when I cough. What's Ayla's last name again? She's from Maine. Ayla from Maine, 2017. Oh, thank you, Jean Ellen. I appreciate that. I hope so. I hope I can get on here and do good, because like I told you all the other night, I don't feel like I've done any good in Summer's case. I feel like it's been a disaster. I don't want to fight with these people no more. I think the case is bigger than any single one of us YouTubers can cover or solve. It's not it's nothing but a clown show. And it's sad, in my opinion, for Summer. On Ayla, Julia, my email is crystalscrimetime@gmail.com. That's it. Just remember my channel name without the speculation and opinion talk. And I'll check it. You know, I just think it's a lot of bullshit in Summer's case. And I think all it's going to do is cause lawsuit, fight after fight. And that's not what I'm here for. It's fun to speculate, make fun of people, talk about the case. Like, I want to go right now. If anybody could tell me what the hell's going on with White Boy, I'd like to hear. I haven't seen the videos yet. I didn't even know he was going to Ben Hill until yesterday. So I can't wait to see how this freaking pans out. But that's the kind of speculation I want to do. I want to speculate on other creators speculating because I'm over the fights. It's too stressful for me. It really is. I am a heart failure patient, so I got to be careful, and I don't want to put myself in the hospital. I don't want no more lawsuits. I'm done with this shit. I'm going to file my own lawsuits. I said that earlier. But if I'm going to do that, I have to stop covering Summer's case as much. I want to speculate what other creators are doing and some information that comes out, but I don't want to speculate with, you know, I hope you guys understand. Bullhorn. Oh, Bullhorn was doing this girl today? No, that's Layla. Oh, Layla, yeah. It's going to be nuts for the next week. Everybody's going to be down there. They're going to be covering everything. You got Trev shit. They're going to be everywhere. And I just don't want. I'll be on here on Summer's birthday. I'm going to figure out something cute to do for Summer's birthday. But I just don't think it's worth hurting any more people down there, you know? Or even myself or other creators, because there's so many creators intertwined with shit that you don't know what creators are intertwined with what. I don't know what the fuck shit is going on, and I'm done with it. I don't want to fight with these people no more. I don't have it in me. I'm out of steam. That's all there is to it. The only way I'm going to fight, I mean, I'm still going to fight, but I'm going to fight in court. It's not going to be here on YouTube. So I'm going to cover the case. I'm going to speculate. I'm going to cover these other cases. Bullhorn was doing Layla. Oh, I will definitely look at that. Did you send me the videos, Hattie? I just think there's so many more children out there that need attention. Autumn and Haleigh are two. I know Haleigh's case is old, but it's still unsolved and Haleigh hasn't been found. And there's still a possibility that Haleigh was abducted. So let's keep her face out there. I'm sorry, work tonight. Gotta go eat and get some sleep. Good night, Suzette. I'm not going to be on too much longer. I'll probably show a couple more clips. And then I'm going to get off too. No long live tonight. Just to come tell you guys what I'm doing and where I'm going. And I hope you'll join. Because Haleigh's case is just as twisted. So I wouldn't say as twisted. But it's just it's pretty close. Have all of you followed Haleigh's case? Ayla Reynolds. That's it. Okay, 1 second. Let me write down Reynolds. Is alive, adopted out to an electrical engineer in Juliet. How do you know she's alive? Huh. I'll look into the case. I have no opinion. I can't give one. That's pretty cool. Okay, another case to look into. Let's get another kid's face out there. You know? Maybe I will come live every night and we could just do what we're doing tonight. Look at the news clips. Keep talking about them. Okay, let's go find some more about Haleigh, because this is supposed to be about Haleigh, guys. Tonight, we are talking about Haleigh. Okay. Oh, here we go. Misty Crosland's cousin, Joe Overstreet, questioned.
Breaking news right now, the search for Haleigh Cummings.
This morning, for the first time, we're hearing from the man police have questioned several times about her disappearance.
Closed captioning don't work, guys. Sorry.
Breaking news right now, the search for Haleigh Cummings.
This morning, for the first time, we're hearing from the man police have questioned several times about her disappearance. As we've been telling you, investigators have intensified their search for this little girl in the past couple of days. Haleigh was last seen 14 months ago. Misty Crosland was the last person to see her. Well, we first told you yesterday morning about the guy right there in the striped shirt. That's Joe Overstreet. He's Misty Crosland's cousin. Overstreet lives in Tennessee, and he says he was in Florida when the little girl disappeared. Well, new this morning, the 20-year-old is speaking out about the allegations that he was involved in Haleigh's disappearance.
Disgusted. I don't know. I can't say nothing about it. I want to say something, but I don't know what to say.
Well, Overstreet's grandmother is the one who called deputies after her other grandson, Tommy Crosland, called her from the St. Johns County Jail on Sunday.
Ooh, I remember that now. I remember looking at his face. There was a longer interview with him. I'm going to write that down and dig that up too. I remember that smile on his face. It always took me crooked. I don't like it. That's me speculating. That's speculation. I don't like that dude's smile. I don't like the way he was smiling while being questioned. I don't know. Just, ugh.
And told her that Overstreet took Haleigh from her home.
And I said, Tommy, I want you to tell me exactly right now, because I know in my heart exactly what you're fixing to tell me.
And investigators tell us Haleigh's father, Ronald Cummings, and Overstreet got into a fight over a gun just days before Haleigh disappeared. Well, that tip led investigators to search the St. Johns River in Putnam County. And in just a couple of hours, divers will be back out in the water for a third day in a row now. We've been covering this story ever since they went out there. Patrick Pegues continues our coverage on this. He's live from the scene just off County Road 309 in Satsuma. Patrick, the divers usually arrive around 8 o'clock in the morning. So what's happening out there right now?
Well, we have seen several deputies that come and go here from the area already this morning. So far, they have not blocked off the road here behind me as they did yesterday, but we expect to see them do that in a couple of hours when they resume the diving operation later on.
The area where divers are searching is about 5 miles from a house where Misty Crosland's parents used to live. Crosland was Haleigh's stepmother. 14 months ago, she was watching the 5-year-old while her father, Ronald Cummings, was working. Crosland later told investigators Haleigh just vanished in the middle of the night. Since then, Crosland and Cummings were married, divorced, and later jailed after arrest on drug trafficking charges. Yesterday, Misty Crosland could be seen on the Shell Harbor Road boat ramp in a jail jumpsuit and handcuffs talking to investigators. Ronald Cummings was also temporarily transferred from jail to the sheriff's office earlier this week when this new search began. Authorities haven't said that the former couple has provided any new information. Investigators also haven't released a single detail about the former couple's involvement with the search or the search itself. They have said they won't talk about the activity here unless something significant comes out of the slow and tedious process of feeling their way around this murky water.
And so far, we have seen investigators from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, even forensic anthropologists from the University of Florida out here, but still, investigators have not confirmed whether they have actually pulled any human remains out of the St. Johns River here. For now, we are live here in Putnam County. I'm Patrick Pegues, Fox 35 News.
All right, thank you, Patrick. We'll see you back here in about 30 minutes. Fox 35, always your source for the latest on the Haleigh Cummings case. We have complete coverage of all the new developments on air and online on myfoxorlando.com. And whenever news breaks about this case, you're going to hear it right here first.
This morning, we continue our special report, Haleigh Cummings into thin air. 10 years ago yesterday, this 5-year-old vanished from bed in Putnam County. She is still missing. And we know, based on my extensive interviews with investigators assigned to that case back in February of 2009, that someone knows where the little girl is. In fact, the detective who worked it says that he believes several people were likely involved in what happened to Haleigh, but no one has been charged. No tip has led to any arrest, and we hope that will change. Allison Lentz is the executive director of Crime Stoppers of Northeast Florida. Good morning. Thank you for being here. All last week, we gave our viewers the phone number to call for tips. Right. There may be some, as you and I have discussed, though, who are hesitant to do that because they're worried somehow that Crime Stoppers or law enforcement is going to show up knocking on their door and are going to reveal their identity. What does Crime Stoppers do to prevent that from happening, to allow people to stay anonymous?
So Crime Stoppers, the whole hallmark of the Crime Stoppers program is anonymity. That's what makes us different from just calling law enforcement. We guarantee that the entire process remains anonymous from when you make that first phone call until you pick up your cash reward. Our tips are protected from public record in Florida. So we go to great lengths to make sure that our callers remain anonymous.
So that means, for example, if an attorney somehow gets involved that's representing the person who's arrested, that attorney can't somehow subpoena Crime Stoppers and get the tipster's information and identity.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say I'm a tipster and I call in. Do I have to give my number? Do you have caller ID? Do you record the conversation?
Absolutely not. We never record a conversation. There is no caller ID involved, and the call taker will never ask for any identification or anything. Like sometimes, for example, a caller will call in and say, I think this about my next door neighbor. They'll always leave that part out of the tip because that could identify that person, I guess, technically.
So then the Crime Stoppers then reports that tip, but excludes that information if the tipster somehow included information that could reveal their identity.
Exactly.
So then if that's the case and you don't really know and you don't take the caller's name, then how does the caller end up getting their money?
So when you call Crime Stoppers, or you can also go through our website or our mobile app. So when you first contact us and you give your tip, you're given a code name or a code number. And then you're asked to follow up in about 30 days. And at that point, if your tip resulted in an arrest, then you're given a second identifier, so a second code name or number. So then once our board of directors votes to approve that reward and it's ready for you to pick up, then you're given instructions on where to go to pick up your cash reward. And all you need is that code.
Are they involved in Summer's case? How do we get them involved in Summer's case? This is part 6. So we've watched part 1 and part 6. It came on after my last video, so I just let it play.
Code name and number, no ID, nothing else.
And if for some reason you call back and that tip hasn't led to an arrest, for example, after a month, you just keep calling in as a result.
Exactly.
I wanted to direct our viewers also to the reason that we've invited you on here, and that is Haleigh Cummings. Disappeared 10 years ago yesterday. People know where she is. They can bring her home. Investigators have said that they do not believe that she is alive. But this is not just about if somebody calls with a tip about Haleigh, because it's a missing persons case, this isn't about necessarily an arrest. Would they get money if they can lead investigators to her whereabouts and perhaps to her body?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have a reward of $15,000, and that's for information that could lead to an arrest or the recovery of Haleigh.
And I want to mention very quickly, normally the reward is not that high, but you had an anonymous donor.
We did.
Back when this happened that donated $10,000?
Yeah, 10 years ago. At the time, people from all over Putnam County and all over North and Central Florida were sending in money that they wanted to donate towards the case. And a lot of it we've sent back over time, but we had $10,000 sent to us anonymously. They didn't want it back. They just wanted it there for Haleigh.
So it is there and it is available to anyone with information. Remember, no tip is too small. It is a cold case and they need your help. Allison, thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. And we have given you the phone numbers, the text, the way for you to text. There's also a website as well, northeastflorida.crimestoppersweb.com, which will be included in this interview, which we'll post on the morning show page later today. If you missed any of our stories also last week, including our special report about what investigators believe happened to the 5-year-old, you can watch them right now by searching News4Jax/Haleigh. You can also listen to the first episode of my News4Jax podcast, Into Thin Air. We look back at 10 years since 5-year-old Haleigh Cummings was last seen. We are getting unprecedented access to what investigators were hearing back then, what they thought, and who they were investigating in her disappearance. The Putnam County detective in charge of the missing persons case is now retired and talking candidly with News4Jax. This morning, he unravels why he believed the story that they were being told just didn't add up. Now, to understand why he says that, you need to listen very closely to what Misty Crosland, the last person who saw Haleigh, told investigators and us about what happened February 10th, 2009, when the little girl vanished into thin air.
I got up because I had to use the bathroom, but I didn't make it to the bathroom. I seen the kitchen light on, and I walked in the kitchen, and the back door is wide open. I mean, I didn't notice about Haleigh then until I seen the back door open, and then I go in the room, and she's gone. And that's all I know.
A tearful Misty Crosland insists that open back door was closed hours earlier when she laid down to sleep next to Haleigh Cummings and the 5-year-old's little brother. The 17-year-old was dating the children's father and was home alone with them while he was at work.
Okay. All right. You said your back door was wide open?
Yeah, it was brick. Like, it was brick on the floor. Like, when I was asleep, the door was not like that.
Was your back door locked, do you know?
Yes, but that's what I always say locked.
A stranger comes inside the house and picks up the little girl and takes her out and leaves the little boy there? It makes no sense.
John Merchant was the detective in charge of Haleigh Cummings' missing persons case for the Putnam County Sheriff's Office in 2009.
I would think that to prop a back door open with a concrete block and you know, it was a metal outswing door, as I recall, something had to make some noise.
But no one woke up, not Misty, not Haleigh, not her little brother. Merchant revealing to us now other inconsistencies in the teenager's account of what happened.
Her story changed about the location.
According to the police report written that night, Misty said the children were sleeping in her bed. But Merchant says she told them later that Haleigh was in her own bed when she discovered she was gone. This is the layout of that bedroom 10 years ago. You see Haleigh's toddler mattress against one wall. To the right is where her father and Misty slept, where Merchant says the teen initially said all three were in bed. And there's something else. Remember this?
I got up because I had to use the bathroom, but I didn't make it to the bathroom.
Except in the police report, Misty told them she woke up to get a drink. There is no mention of the bathroom. Merchant believes Misty was not being truthful about what happened.
That she had it stuck in her mind that she had a story she wanted to tell us.
Yet she was tripping up, clearly.
Often. And you know, that comes with, you know, telling the truth is easy. Telling a lie is not easy at all.
Merchant was never able to prove Misty Crosland was lying about the details of that night, and with no physical evidence or any sign of Haleigh, despite an exhaustive weeks-long search, Misty was never charged for any wrongdoing. In fact, to this day, she insists, as she did when we interviewed her 2 days after the little girl disappeared, that she had nothing to do with it.
I just want everybody to know that I didn't do anything with that little girl. I love her like she's my own, and I'll do anything to get her back.
They got tunnel vision. Once they focused on Misty, they forgot about everything else.
Tomorrow morning at 7.
That's another thing we can come over. There's so many pieces to this case as well. The grandmother who had cancer or something, I think she passed away. The mom, there was a lot of family members involved on the news and on the morning shows, and Nancy Grace, and yeah.
Haleigh's grandmother had her own theory. Was there anyone else that you thought could have possibly had something to do with her disappearance?
Absolutely. There was a man in a trailer that lived in the woods right behind my old house.
Why he was quickly ruled out. And then tomorrow night, starting at 5, these 3 investigators revealing to the public for the first time what they believe may have happened to Haleigh Cummings. Don't miss our continuing coverage of our special report, Into Thin Air. So many unanswered questions. And I have to tell you, I've been doing this a long time, was a police beat reporter for a long time. Sitting down with those 3 investigators, now that they've retired and they're no longer involved in that case, is just fascinating. All the things that they heard, all of the things they heard, the things that they couldn't prove, the stories that they were told. It's just unbelievable.
I can't imagine their frustrations, but that's a question for another day. Let me go back to the inconsistencies in Misty's stories. What's the family think about that?
Yeah, it's interesting because, obviously Misty was very close with Ronald's side of the family, grandmother, great-grandmother, Haleigh's, relatives. And, I asked them that question when I interviewed them, and they said they never saw anything but love, compassion, kindness between Misty and both of the kids. And they say that Haleigh adored Misty. So honestly, they don't know what to think. They don't know who.
That's another thing that bothered me about this case, was how accepting these people were of somebody who was 25 and somebody who was 17 helping to raise babies. Like, we get it, people have babies at a young age, but this man was 25 years old. Misty was 17, and the family was so open, like, oh, it's okay. They helped in the wedding. They promoted it. It was a, yeah. Wow, the memories are flooding back as we're watching this. Let's see, maybe we'll watch one more part and then we can continue. I'll go look and see how many parts there are and find them, and we can watch them tomorrow. Okay, hold on.
To believe, which is why her great-grandmother said, they got tunnel vision on Misty, and she feels like they maybe missed something. We'll have more on that story, of course, tomorrow. And Bruce, as we have mentioned, every day this week, we do want to remind people that somebody knows something, as we discussed. It's a matter of whether or not that person will pick up the phone and make that call. And you can do that by calling the Crime Stoppers tip line at 888-277-TIPS. There is a $15,000 cash reward if your call to Crime Stoppers with information leads to an arrest.
I think I'm late on my car insurance.
Good thing the General gives you a break when you need it.
Yeah, with flexible payment options to keep you covered. So today is your lucky.
As we look back at 5-year-old Haleigh Cummings' disappearance 10 years ago, we have learned that investigators were zeroing in on the last person to see the Putnam County girl. It's Misty Crosland. The 17-year-old was dating the little girl's father, Ronald, and was babysitting Haleigh when she says the kindergartner vanished from bed in the middle of the night on February 10th. Now, Crosland has never been charged with any wrongdoing and insists that she told investigators everything she knows about what happened that night. The little girl's great-grandmother and grandmother think investigators were so focused on her that they missed something.
They got tunnel vision. Once they focused on Misty, they forgot about everything else. It was Misty. It was just Misty.
Was there anyone else that you thought could have possibly had something to do with her disappearance?
Absolutely. There was a man in a trailer that lived in the woods right behind Ronald's house.
We asked investigators about that. Did their focus on Misty Crosland distract them from other possible suspects?
Yeah, we could have been focused on Misty, but there were so many other people involved, so many parts of the puzzle that were, picked up by other agencies, just like the sex offenders checked.
Robert Hardwick was an investigator with the state attorney's office assigned to Haleigh Cummings' case in February 2009. He worked it with his boss, retired Judge Robert Mathis. John Merchant was the lead detective for the Putnam County Sheriff's Office.
Anywhere a lead would take us, we went.
All three are confident every tip was investigated. Merchant says anyone who lived near Haleigh was interviewed. The man Haleigh's grandmother suspected had an alibi and was not considered a suspect. Now,
Do you guys see what I meant by similarities? Those are huge similarities to Summer's case. That's why I want to cover this, and because I'm here and I've always followed Haleigh's case. I have a chance to keep her face and name out there. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Now, they're sharing details about people investigators looked into.
If you look at the map of Putnam County at that time, and the number of registered sex offenders within a 1 mile radius, there were a tremendous number of them. And we looked at all of them.
I remember us tracking down a sex offender to Nebraska, and we went to Nebraska and interviewed him in the middle of the night.
Did that turn into anything?
Nothing.
There were 44 registered sex offenders living near Haleigh Cummings when she disappeared. Investigators say each was accounted for the night she vanished. But soon, someone else was added to the list of people the detectives looked at. Joe Overstreet, Misty Crosland's cousin.
I can tell you he left the state of Florida the same day and she went missing.
That seemed very suspicious for a relative of the last person to see Haleigh alive to suddenly decide to leave Putnam County to return home to Tennessee within hours of the little girl's disappearance.
But a lot of surveillance on Joey just to maybe hope that he would do something out of the ordinary.
And did that work?
We had nothing that came to fruition up in Tennessee.
Nothing. Their search for answers led them down another dead end. Joe Overstreet denied any involvement in Haleigh's disappearance and was never charged. By now, other information, though, was starting to filter in, circling back to the same person.
I mean, everything pointed at Misty.
Tonight on News for Jack, starting at 5.
She knows where the little girl is. I do believe that.
What did the last person to see 5-year-old Haleigh Cummings reveal to investigators months later? And what did this detective learn that led him to this conclusion about the kindergartner?
I don't feel that she's alive.
Our special report, Haleigh Cummings into Thin Air, continues tonight at 5.
And I want to dig a little bit deeper into, the family's concern about this laser focus on Misty Crosland. She, of course, was never charged with anything, as we mentioned. But, when you're a family member and you're kind of just seeing detectives, you don't realize that a lot of them are with different agencies. So in addition, of course, to who you heard from, Robert Hardwick and Robert Mathis, they were with the state attorney's office. You had the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. You had FDLE. You had FBI. So everybody was like pieces to a puzzle. They were grabbing leads and they were spanning out and tracking those down. So there were a lot of people who were working on this. So just because they were maybe one person was asking specifically about one person doesn't mean that others weren't asking questions about other people.
And these are seasoned investigators. They don't miss pieces to a puzzle. How about Haleigh's father, Ronald? Was he ever considered a person of interest?
A lot of people on Facebook and online are asking this question. And of course, I asked Detective Merchant, who was the lead investigator with the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, about Ronald. Ronald was at work. There was no question about that. Not considered a person of interest in this case. After they did some investigating, the detective basically described Ronald as a good father who loved his daughter. And he thinks that
Again, the father was at work. Another similarity. So, thank you. Thank you for coming, Shelley. Welcome to the shit show. I'm kidding. I hope. Yeah, it's important we keep Haleigh's name out there. Thank you. Welcome. Okay. Let's go finish this last few seconds.
he probably was not involved in this.
All right. There's more to come on this story. Next report airs tonight.
Tonight at 5 o'clock.
All right. Gonna have to watch that.
And of course, we want to remind you, if you know anything about Haleigh's whereabouts or what happened to her, please call Crime Stoppers. It is the reason we are doing all these stories this week, folks. We want some tips to be called in. We want to bring this little girl home. The number to dial is 888-277-TIPS. You can remain anonymous. There's a $15,000 reward for information called into the tip line that leads to an arrest.
Feel free to help your people grow with Bamboo HR.
Wow, people are bullish.
We'll watch one more, guys. Okay.
On you.
Sign up for a free trial now.
We asked real people if we could help them share a surprise with someone they love.
Cool box.
Each morning this week, and last night at 5, we brought you details about the disappearance 10 years ago of Haleigh Cummings that have never before been heard.
The 5-year-old has not been seen since February 10th, 2009. And this morning, Jennifer Waugh continues her special report, Into Thin Air.
We have heard from investigators all week what they think happened to the missing Putnam County kindergartner. We have talked with her family about their heartache these last 10 years. This morning, we are focusing on Haleigh, the little girl.
It's Christmas 2008.
You got a backpack full of goodies, didn't you?
Sassy, cute, blonde hair, button nose, big brown eyes, the brightest smile you ever want to see. Lights up a room.
Teresa Neves says just having her granddaughter here was a miracle.
Turner syndrome is a missing chromosome, and they found out at a sonogram.
Doctors had initially thought Haleigh's condition would cause her to be so disfigured at birth, she might not even survive.
She would never have breasts, and she would never have children. She would never have anything that girls had without hormone shots. So she came, and she hardly had anything that you could notice. We were really, really blessed with her.
She had all her fingers and toes, and she didn't really have any abnormalities that you could see anywhere or anything. So we were just tickled to death.
True joy. That's how her grandmothers describe watching the baby grow into a toddler and then into a little girl.
I remember Haleigh would run in my front door. She would just bust in my front door hollering, screaming, "Nana, Nana!" And she'd run, jump in my arms. The next thing she would ask me is, "Nana, can I listen to my God music?" Because I had her a little kid's gospel CD. And when she had her own little CD player, and that's what she wanted to do.
She loved nail polish, makeup, eating macaroni and cheese, and her daddy.
I mean, they were inseparable. Everywhere Ronald went, Haleigh went. I mean, she latched on to him, and she was daddy's girl. There's no way around it. This Haleigh's scrapbook.
This book holds Haleigh's memories.
This is JJ, her cousin JJ, holding her there.
JJ was 8 when she disappeared.
I just couldn't think that getting up, she'd never be here again. I always thought she'd just be here the next day when I woke up. But here it is, 10 years later, she's still not here.
The pain of losing her has never gone away. 47 days after this video was recorded, the 5-year-old vanished from bed while sleeping next to her father's girlfriend and her little brother. Her dad was at work. 17-year-old Misty Crosland told deputies she woke up in the early morning hours of February 10, 2009, and Haleigh was gone. The back door to the mobile home propped open with a cinder block, her little blanket on the back porch. No one has been charged in connection with her disappearance. Investigators do not believe Haleigh left alone. Her family continues to beg for answers.
If you're watching out there and you know what happened, please bring my cousin home. That's all I want. I'll be 19 in July, and I just want her to be home for my birthday. And that's my only wish.
Do you remember a moment where you thought, I'm not sure I'm ever going to see her again?
I haven't thought that yet. I will see her again. God will bring her home. Just wait on that one person. But I will see her again.
Teresa Neves called Haleigh Little Mama because the 5-year-old loved babies, holding them, taking care of them. Her father, Ronald, called her his little princess. Now, this is a picture of what Haleigh would look like at the age of 12. If you know anything about her disappearance, call 888-2 277-TIPS. There is a $15,000 reward if your tip to the hotline leads to an arrest. And remember, you can remain anonymous. Bruce, Mel?
It is so important that we continue to see her face and we continue to hear from the people who loved her because, it's been 10 years and so many people have forgotten, but to see the family still grieving and that 18-year-old expressing, he's going to be 19 and that's all he wants for his present. And someone out there knows something.
You hear from the detectives who say they don't believe she's alive. The family holds out every hope that she is. But both sides will tell you that they do believe that there's somebody that knows something. And that's the whole point of this series of reports, to get that person who knows something to say something. So we invite you to join us Sunday, which marks the exact date 10 years ago that Haleigh Cummings disappeared. We take you back to her home.
And Jen, talk with the people who searched for that 5-year-old back then. They prayed for her. And really, this is such a small Putnam County community, and they are reminding everyone that it will not rest until Haleigh is found. So that's Sunday on the 10 o'clock news.
And beginning Monday, listen to the first episode of our podcast, Into Thin Air. It has extended interviews with the investigators, with family, and with neighbors. It's available on select podcast platforms, and you can subscribe now. For more, visit our special section on news4jax.com at news4jax.com.
I don't know if I just don't know how to do it, or if there is a way, if anybody knows StreamYard, and you could tell me if there's a way to pause a video while it's playing from StreamYard so I could see the chat. That would be amazing, because this back and forth and click, 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 all you guys hear is my clicking. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Should we continue with Haleigh? What do you think of the Tennessee connection? Do you think there was a brick at the back door or no? I say we dig, and we dig, and we dig. Nana's Angels, Mr. Cher asked Dawn. So that was the same day. Dawn says yes, same time. Except I'll have to watch. Was that on a night? Who did you say was on? Dawn? Was Dawn on there tonight? On Mark's channel? I'll look at it. I'll watch it. I'm still going to cover summer, guys. It's just going to be a little different, I think. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this new thing here. I just know I got to back down a little bit from certain situations in Summer's case. So, and as I said in my community post, those things I posted about it, those will be the last time I speak on it. And that's that. I will be deleting and blocking anybody who comes into chat and tries to troll. If I get a vibe from you, I'm not going to have mods. I can mod myself while my chats are low like this. I don't have that huge audience, so I don't need mods at the moment. And when I do need them, my daughter-in-law's here, and I pay her. She likes making the extra money, $10 an hour. So that's where we're at with that. Nana's Angels. Okay, I'll look. You're saying it's on Nana's Angels. So many things in this case, huh? I'd say all of us creators have been through the ringer, really. I'm just exhausted in Summer's case, personally. Hey, but what happened with the white boy stuff? What was his videos about? Can anybody tell me? I don't want to share it because I don't know if he'd copyright me. I don't think he likes me. I don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to head off here like what? 7 minutes early. I told you I'm not feeling too great tonight, and I have a friend calling me at 12:15 that I haven't spoke to in a while from high school, so I'm going to go chit chat with her a little bit. Hattie, I'll check your messages, but I can't chat super long because I did promise my friend I would speak with her tonight. She needs some girly talk. All right, but thank you who did come in and show up tonight. Keep Haleigh's picture out there. Keep Summer's picture out there. Keep Autumn's picture out there. I will start posting pictures of, what was her name again? Ayla Reynolds, and I will look into that. And yes, justice for all of them, man. For all of them. You know, and let's do it respectfully. Let's go over the old clips, the news clips, and things of that nature. And I hope you guys I haven't monetized like any of my videos, but I am going to start doing so. I just want you guys to know that. It's not that I'm tragedy pimping. It's that StreamYard's $25 a month. Canva's $15 a month. I got 10 people in my house I'm trying to feed. So I've never lied to you guys, and I'm not going to say I'm here not to make an honest living. So we're going to do it honestly. I don't need cash apps, Venmos, PayPals, etc. But love to you all. Peace. I'll see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock. That's going to be my time. I'll go live every night at 10 when I go live. Talk to y'all later. Bye.